Welcome to MimicMinis. I'm Pedro, and for my first YouTube video I'll show you how I painted my Custom Ork Warboss. Stick around. So, after priming the miniature black, the first step was to paint all the metallics. I didn't worry too much and kept it pretty casual. As you'll see, I just covered the messy areas with black paint to clean them up. I decided to add some bronze to a few metallic parts before moving on to define the red areas. An important step now is to paint the exposed skin areas. Since this guy is an orc, the green will create a striking contrast with the other colors. I chose a lighter, more saturated color for the leather parts, as I plan to darken them later with a wash. I painted the foot and applied a second coat of red to the previous painted areas to make them more vibrant and opaque. I felt the metallics needed some contrast, so I painted certain areas black. This helped to better define and separate the metallic elements. Now for the fun part. I used the wash to enhance the metallics with a richer tone and to add shadows to the recesses. I applied it across the entire miniature except for the skin parts. To make the black more interesting, I applied the watered down brown to the recesses of the armor. This creates a dirty, rusty effect that adds color to the black armor. Next, to stick with the classic orc paint scheme, I painted some parts white. This made certain elements stand out and gave the miniature a more dynamic look, especially when paired with the red sections. Then, I just fixed some errors with black. Now, I wanted to create the classic checkered pattern that orcs are known for. It's really simple to do. Start by defining an horizontal line, then divide the shape with vertical lines. Try to keep it neat, but don't worry if you make mistakes. You can always fix them later. For this step, I mixed more water than usual with the black paint to make it easier to apply. It's time for some weathering. I used the brown wash on the white parts, as well as the skin parts, including the head. This will drastically improve on the reading of the face. Once the wash had fully dried, I restored the colors by focusing on the raised areas, keeping away from the recesses to maintain the shadows. For the white areas, I dry brushed them with white paint, focusing on the raised surfaces and edges to highlight the detail. Once again, I corrected any mistakes with black paint and shaded certain areas with a brown wash. I then used the base color to brighten them back up and enhance the highlights. I applied another coat of red paint, this time focusing on the upper areas to create a smooth transition. I also painted a few sections white and added yellow to the Bad Moon's totem on his back. For the hairy details on his totem, I chose purple, as it added contrast to the other colors without clashing too much. I then applied additional washes to some areas to help with a weathered look. Now comes one of my favorite parts when painting orcs, a messy metallic dry brush to edge highlight the black sections. This makes the black armor look like worn metal, improves the readability of the miniature shapes, and adds a cool weathered effect with scratches and texture. Not all of this process is messy though. Some scratches are carefully painted to create longer, deliberate marks on the surfaces, adding intentional detail and emphasizing key edges for greater impact. Before applying the same technique to the jaw piece, I gave it a final coat of red, focusing on the upper areas to enhance contrast. Then, as I did with parts of the armor, I carefully painted fine lines and dots of metallic paint along the raised surfaces of the jaw. After that, I applied the watered down brown to give it a dirty, weathered look, then highlighted it again with metallics for added depth. The final step was painting the wires on his arm. I wasn't sure what colors to use, and I didn't want anything too flashy, so I decided on red and yellow. I started with the base color, applied the brown wash for shading, and then highlighted it again with the base color for a clean finish. And with that, the miniature was complete. All that's left is to attach it to the base and capture some final reveal shots. Enjoy! If you want to see how I painted the rest of the model, check out my other videos. I'll leave a link in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel. This is MimicMinis, and thank you all for watching.